But you also need patience. And that's something I don't have.
I don't have that either.
I don't have it.
and
So
I
I
was-
don't blame people.
New housing minister was announced.
Yeah.
His initial comment about the housing market, I'm paraphrasing, do you plan on making homes more affordable for young Canadians in general, but young Canadians who want to buy homes? He said, no.
When I was growing up, and I mean,
10 schools.
immigrants to this country,
Yeah.
we went where my dad's work took us. And do you think my parents ever asked me, like, Peg, are you okay to move? They were packing
Yeah.
my stuff, and I was like, what's going on?
Okay, so much going on.
And yet nothing.
And yet nothing. Okay, so politics we're going to talk about. Interest rates, kind of,
And yet nothing.
and yet nothing. And the real estate market, nothing. Okay, but here's the good news. Like, positively nothing? Like,
Yeah, no, we're busy.
So consistent.
Yeah.
So consistent.
We're just not, we're not making headlines.
Every day, purchase agreements come into our office.
Yeah. We're busy.
People say to us, who are buying homes right now? Who are the people that are buying homes right now?
A lot of them are first-time buyers.
Yes.
And that's why that's why we were encouraging first-time buyers, because I don't know that there's been a better time for a first-time buyer to buy a home.
I couldn't
Rates
agree
are
with
great.
you more.
Prices are down.
Yeah.
The government's tripping over themselves to give you incentives. Like, I can't imagine a better time.
And they don't have a house to sell that they are going to, perceivably to them, lose money on.
So who's not buying and selling right now?
I can tell you who's not buying and selling. People that know that their house will return to a value that they saw 2 or 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because we have lots of first-time buyers and they're buying.
Yeah.
And then that second-time seller, which should be what's next, stuck.
Okay. And who else is stuck? Okay. There's another category that's stuck. Remember the people that were just making it rain 4 years ago? Retirees who had no interest in owning a home anymore. Okay. So they could cash out of the market, sell at a high price, and not have to re-enter the market as a buyer.
Right.
So like my dad, for example, 70 years old, really successful business career, wants to keep his foot in business, but he wants to be down south, South America, 6 months of the year. He wants to sell his home. He wants to cash out of his tax-free home equity and use it, invest it, that sort of thing. He's like, I don't need to be tied down, Nick. But, we're talking about a house, South End Barrie, that was like 1.2 million, 1.1 million, arguably, in the height of the market. That might be 850 or 900,000 now. And that extra $300,000 is that's a game changer for these people.
And unfortunately, you can't unsee things, right?
You cannot unsee it.
You
That
can't
is it.
unsee things. So you have people sitting in their homes that know that their neighbor got 1.3, and I'm coming in there telling them, oh, maybe you can get 9.
Yeah.
They can't forget that their neighbor got 1.3.
No.
They can't.
And they did a retirement plan. Like that category of people did a retirement plan based on 1.2, 1.3, whatever, right? They want that money. They need that money.
But they banked on that money.
They banked on that money.
And that's the problem. Everybody's banked on that money.
So those people I find are not selling unless they have to.
Yeah, no.
They're
waiting.
And the second time home buyer.
Yeah.
So they bought with a minimum down payment in most cases. They watched their house go all the way up, and typically they would sell, have 20% down or more, put it down on the next house, and hey, have some money left over, clear off debt, renovate the new home, put a pool in it, invest it, top up our ESPs.
But what if I lose my job, Nick?
Okay, that's a whole nother topic. Let's get into that.
That's the problem with the second time seller right now. Even if you need a bigger home, there's so much uncertainty out there that I don't know that I'm pulling the trigger. I don't feel good.
Okay, so there's the manufacturing sector. One big manufacturer that
it's Ontario.
Yeah,
that's what we are.
So locally, Simcoe County, there's a big manufacturer that's on work share, meaning that their staff is down to 2-3 days a week.
Yeah,
they get topped up for the rest, but it's not the same.
It isn't the same. It doesn't give you the same warm and fuzzies to go out and buy a bigger house.
Yeah, so there's those people. They definitely are not buying right now.
No,
because they're scared. There's the people that touch those people, so they know them, or hey, the Cintas guy that goes into that plant,
and all the car part plants around
yes,
them, and
yes,
everybody that feeds into that factory. Like, I mean, come on.
Anybody that services that factory in any way, the Cintas guy rolls out the mats, and all of a sudden he sees like empty offices.
Yeah.
He gets asked to come in once every 2 weeks instead of every week.
Yeah.
There's that category of people. Like they can see it, but it doesn't directly affect them.
It doesn't feel good.
They are scared, man.
Yeah, doesn't feel good.
They are very scared. And then there's the people that are completely unaffected by it, let's say, in their day-to-day, but they hear about it.
Yeah.
And then
when's it coming for me?
The confidence just goes down.
Yeah.
And it's when is it coming for me? But it's also like, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not going to do it.
No.
Right?
No.
So
it too much uncertainty. And what people don't realize is that you got to feel good before you're going to make a big purchase like that, or an upgrade or what have you. Even though, like, I can sit here all day and tell you there's never been a better time. You never have more choice. You never like. I'm not pressing on that right now because I get it. People are scared, and why wouldn't we be? I mean, it makes a total sense. Our entire future is dictated by somewhere else.
You and I were just talking about this. Like, why, if it's that good, then why aren't we doing it? Right? So, like, if you can buy a townhouse, okay, we can go to Duckworth and like Georgian Drive sort of thing. That area. You can buy a townhouse in there for $600-ish.
Yep.
Okay. Those townhouses 3.5 years ago were $750.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could buy 10 of them, wait less than 5 years, and
make a whack of money.
Make $1 million. Why aren't we doing it?
Because I'm not sure.
I know, right? And if we're not sure,
no,
we live this every day.
Yeah.
Then what about like the average like person who doesn't touch real estate every day and is wondering what their next move is or whatever, right?
And that's why I say to you, like, there's way too much confusion in this world.
There's way too much confusion.
Way too much noise. People can't even collect their thoughts because of so much noise in the business.
So real estate is consistent right now.
It is.
Yeah.
We're having a great May. Probably one of the busiest Mays we've had. And
Same.
People won't believe that because all the headlines you see, and I mean, Toronto may be a little different because, you know, they don't have first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
You can't be a first-time home buyer in Toronto. Like you can't touch their real estate.
Not unless you're a high double income household.
And even then, what are you getting? Like,
you're going to spend $1 million
average,
on a. Can you get a
semi?
Maybe a semi.
Maybe a semi.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Like that's the issue, right? So we're benefiting from the fact that first time buyers can buy up here, and they can buy a home up here. They can buy, you know, if you have $800,000, you can buy a 3-bedroom detached with a nice yard and raise your family, you know, for 10 years.
Okay, I want to talk about that. Okay, because everybody wants to know what Peggy would do for real. Okay, like when I talk to people about these videos, they're like, ask Peggy more questions about the market. So I want to know, they want to know. I heard your radio ad in Toronto. It's great. It's telling people in Toronto they can buy a home in Simcoe County for like $700,000-$800,000. Yeah, which is great. It's possible.
Absolutely.
So I'm a young family. I'm a dad of a young family. I live in Toronto. I want to buy our first home. I want to come up to Simcoe County because it's commutable for me. We can make it work. Okay, my kids are young enough that the school district doesn't matter. I have $800,000 to spend. Where do I go in Simcoe County?
I would probably go around Arda neighborhood.
Barrie. You'd go in Barrie.
I go to Barrie.
Oh, wow.
I'd go to Barrie because it's the most sound investment. And not that I'm saying Aurelia and Springwater and Oro aren't sound, but when things go sideways, they're the first to feel it.
They currently have the longest months of inventory.
They do.
Yeah.
They have the most.
Whereas Barrie, if you list your home at the right price, it'll sell. Yeah. So that's interesting. So like I automatically thought, and I think probably the people watching this would think that you're going to say, well, go north, go to Midland, go to Tiny, get more for your money.
No.
But you're right. Like that's a great strategy. You buy in Barrie.
You always have to think with investment in mind, right? And I know that it's a family home and I know that you're going to raise your kids in it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not cold-hearted. I get that. But for me, I guess because I'm in the business and I see people's life change through real estate, you always have to buy with investment in mind. And just because you don't have school age kids doesn't mean school districts don't matter.
Yeah.
They do matter.
They do matter. Yeah.
Because they matter in resale. Everything matters in resale. So location is the number one thing that matters in resale. And timing is everything.
Yeah. When I talk about school districts with my clients, I usually say to them, like, not only like pick a good school, but also like be very, very, very aware of that school district. Because if you want to move in the next 10 years, you're going to have to do it in that school district most of the time, unless it's for like, you know, work or whatever else. But otherwise, like, you want your kids to be in the same school.
I know. And that is a very 2000 thing. I'll tell you, when I was growing up, and I mean, immigrants to this country, we went where my dad's work took us. And do you think my parents ever asked me, like, Peg, are you okay to move?
Oh my gosh, this is a thing in
it's
my
like
house.
They were packing my stuff, and I was like, what's going on?
We've had this conversation, right? I'll say to my kids, there's a really nice house for sale in Shanty Bay, and here's all the benefits and everything else. What do you think? And they're like, no. We like it where we are.
No.
We live by a ski hill, so they hang out at the ski hill, right? So they're like, no, our friends are here and we like the ski hill.
No.
Okay, when I was growing up, I went to 10 different schools. Guess what? I came home sometimes and my room was already packed.
I know.
It wasn't, would you like to move to London, Ontario?
And it's so funny because
it was, we are moving to London, Ontario.
But of course, with all the scars I carried, I took it forward. My kids went to the same school from JK to
all
grade
the way up,
12.
Right? Yeah.
But here's the thing. When I walk into families' homes, and a lot of military families in this area, you can well imagine, their kids are so damn resilient.
Oh, like, right. Because they've moved. Yeah.
They've moved.
Yeah.
Like, why are we so afraid to move our kids?
Yeah.
Like, they'll meet new friends.
It's true.
They'll make new friends.
Yeah.
We're creating these kids that can't change anything. Like, everything's a problem.
Yeah. So I have $800 to spend. I buy in Barrie. What do I buy and where do I go?
I mean, if you can buy in the Arda neighborhoods, great neighborhood.
There's lots detached?
I would buy detached if you can.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't shy away from a semi either, or a townhome. Like, you got to get in this market. So no matter what, but it's funny because I think a lot of people would take a pretty town over a detached that needs a little bit of work. And that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
As far as investment wise, like, don't fall for the bling.
Yeah.
You know, buy the bones, buy the bones, buy the district that you know, people will want to live there because their kids will want to go to school and walk over to school and what have you. Don't buy, you know, the 1,700 square foot town that's like 4 levels up because, again, you're restricting who's going to buy that.
That's it.
You know?
Right. Yeah. So, Barrie proper.
Yeah.
3 bedrooms in a perfect world, I guess.
Yeah. And I can't say that that we have any bad areas in Barrie.
No, I agree.
You know, even Letitia used to have such a stigma around it. And
people buy Letitia.
No, it's not there anymore. Yeah. And so I think we live in a relatively safe community, or equally unsafe is maybe what it is.
Yeah.
But I can't see there's any bad areas. I've lived in the Arda for 30 years.
Crazy.
So that's probably why my go-to is that. Holly is great. I mean, yeah. And it raised my kids here, perfectly fine humans.
Yeah. So months of inventory. Let's just explain to everybody again what that is. So if not another house came for sale after today,
right,
it's the number of months it would take to sell through the entire inventory of homes that are for sale in that community.
Correct.
It also signifies a buyer's market and a seller's market, depending on the months of inventory that are available. Or a balanced market. Yeah, thank you. So which communities currently have the highest months of inventory, meaning the markets aren't moving? And I'm like not putting you on the spot, generally speaking.
Tiny.
Yeah. Okay.
Tiny, I would say Ramera.
Yeah.
Anything that far out.
Oro, Springwater?
Oro isn't great. Springwater is not great.
Yeah.
Like, they have quite a few months of inventory.
You're going to surprise me with this one. Aurelia?
Aurelia's actually lower now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Their months of inventory have dropped. They got ahead of themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And their months of inventory were going up because their prices were going up.
Yeah.
But they've come back down, and that's the market, right?
Yeah.
Like it regulates itself.
I think 3 or 4 videos ago, we were talking about like the crazy scenario where townhouses were priced the same in Aurelia as Barrie.
Correct.
You want a townhouse at that time in Aurelia or Barrie, it was $600,000.
Yeah.
Both cities.
I'm going to buy in Barrie because
Totally.
if I ever have to commute to Toronto, it's that much closer.
Yeah.
Not because I feel Barrie's, well, it is.
Yeah.
But Aurelia's great.
Yeah, Aurelia's great. Tell me about Innisfil.
Okay. Innisfil has high months of inventory.
Yeah,
and again, it's all price related. Innisfil always seems to feel that they deserve more money than Barrie because it's that much closer to the 400.
Okay. So that's where I was getting at with this. Okay. So my $800,000 single family detached home that I'm going to find in Barrie. Okay. It's small. It's a single car garage. It has 3 bedrooms.
It might be a double with the 3 bedrooms.
Okay. How much is that comparable home in Innisfil? Like how much more should I plan to spend in Innisfil? Is it $50,000 or is it $100,000?
Probably 50 to 75,
okay,
but
gotcha.
I wouldn't spend it.
But it's more, right?
I wouldn't spend it because when the market heats up, you're not going to get any more for Innisfil than you are for Barrie.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's a safe bet. I mean, you go to Wasaga, huge months of inventory in Wasaga, but they've had a lot of new builds. So it's that much further out for people.
Yeah. When we talk about the high months of inventory in Innisfil, does that include Friday Harbor? Like, is that the problem?
No.
Friday Harbor is not the problem that's contributing to the high months of inventory.
Friday Harbor is a problem all on its own. I mean, they have lots of months of inventory there now, but condos are a little different. So the months of inventory for condos in Barrie is 7.8 the last time I checked, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So almost 8 months of inventory, which makes it a buyer's market. Innisfil, Friday Harbor specific, because really that's where all the condos are. It was like 30 months of inventory. And that's all based on the fact that there just hasn't been the sales.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because this is, a lot of people will want to know this. I want to invest. I got some money. I want to put it in the market. I see the 1-bedroom, $400,000 condos in Friday Harbor. Buy one.
Yeah, I own 2 of them in there.
Great investment.
It's not a bad investment. And the thing is that right now is not the time to sell in Friday Harbor.
But is it the time to buy?
It is the time to buy.
Interesting.
Because right now you're kind of competing with the builder too, because they're also selling. So is it the time to buy? Yeah. When nobody else wants to buy in Friday Harbor, now is the time to buy.
Yeah.
Is it the time to sell? No, unless you have to, and some people have to. So I'm looking at picking up another one.
Do you think there's movement in price?
There is.
On those Friday Harbor condos?
It just depends on the seller, right?
Yeah.
Like it depends on their circumstance, how badly they want out of there. But I wouldn't shy. They have dropped a lot. I wouldn't shy away from Friday Harbor.
If I'm your buyer and there's probably 10 of them for sale at $400,000, what are we hoping to get that $400,000 condo for these days? Do you think? It's not 300. It's probably not 350.
No,
it's 370.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But if I had 4, I would probably spend 5 and get a 2-bedroom.
Interesting.
Because this is the problem they're running into in Toronto right now. Is all their little square boxes they can't sell are all 400 to 600 square feet.
So that's interesting about Friday Harbor, because when I looked at them, I was going through them the other day after I watched your presentation on Innisfil and the high months of inventory and Friday Harbor and that sort of thing. And when I was going through them, some of them are on the 2nd or 3rd floor of a building, and other ones are on the main floor of like this, really nice looking house looking structure. Double patio door that opens up right onto the water. And it's like, well, I would buy that before I'd be 4 stories up away from the water, for example. So,
and I want to be 4 stories up.
That blows my mind, actually.
Isn't that funny?
I would have never guessed that. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's.
But if I had a little dog, I don't want to be 4 stories up.
Yeah. I in my mind, one was way more appealing than the other, but that's interesting perspective.
Preference.
Yeah. Okay, so the one topic that we haven't got to yet that we need to get to.
Okay.
Dum. Politics.
All right.
Okay, let's first talk about down south.
Yeah.
What's happening? I heard about some crazy stuff happening at the border too, but we won't even go there. Like the questions that Canadians are being asked crossing, etc.
And I went to Boston just recently, took my daughter to Mel Robbins, and we had zero issues.
Yeah. Somebody else told me that they crossed with like a pink cowboy hat on their way to a bachelor party, and they said they had no problem.
No. And I think it just depends. I think it depends. They do have more power to harass you than they used to, but don't be afraid. Like if you need to get to something.
I think it was just worth mentioning that it's a thing.
It is a thing. It is a thing.
Okay, so let's talk tariffs.
Okay.
Everybody seems to sort of be on the same page. Like Trump is after something that is not currently or not what he originally asked for. He asked for much more than he ever expected to get.
Right.
Are we going to land at a 10% blanket tariff?
Maybe. But the thing is, it can't happen fast enough.
No, I know.
It can't happen fast enough. And he's going to make deals with those that affect him the most, right?
Yeah.
That China, that was a problem.
Yep.
It was more a problem for him than it was. And China wasn't going to budge.
No.
But it was more a problem for the States than it was for China.
Yeah.
So even though it was hurting China just as much, they won't budge. Canada is being hurt more than they are with this trade nonsense.
Yes.
So do we need this to end? Yes. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, what people don't understand is that this housing market, if it wasn't for those tariffs,
I was just waiting.
I
was waiting for this.
This was going to be the year.
2025.
This was
like, come on.
We have low rates. Yeah. We have houses to sell. Like this would be on fire right now.
Right.
If it wasn't for those tariffs
and rates. Like let's talk about rates just quickly for a moment. First time home buyer still below 4%.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Conventional, like 20% down. I'm selling a house, I'm buying a house. Towing the line with like 4.25%. Still great.
Yeah.
If you're brave enough to take a variable rate, as a first-time homebuyer, you'll be 3.5% before you know it.
That's crazy.
The rates are good.
Yeah.
The tariffs and the tariff noise needs to go away.
It does. And the thing is, and this is the part that I want people to understand. So this was all man-made because without it, the fundamentals are strong.
Totally.
So without this tariff nonsense, this is a good market.
It's a great market.
So what happens if we wake up one morning and the tariffs are gone? Because it could very well happen.
So if it happens in October, which is typically a slower time of year.
This market's on fire. I'm telling you, as soon as these tariffs are gone, as long as we aren't faced with God knows what else, this market will be on fire.
So I couldn't agree with you more. And what's funny is the people that want to buy in this market, they know that. They know that. Those first-time homebuyers that are coming in, like, hey, people are snagging up, as you would say, fully detached, 3-bedroom, in-town Barrie, double-car garage homes, 7s, 8s.
Yeah.
Wild.
I know.
Wild.
I know.
Try and go buy a home at Prince William Way, the Queens Way, like under $1 million in some circumstances.
Yeah.
You couldn't touch anything for under $1 million there.
And here's the difference. The difference is that what first-time buyers don't, or what they know that other people don't know, is that when they buy a townhome for $600,000 with the rates that they're getting right now, it's cheaper for them to buy than to rent. It's
like right in line. It's like totally comparable in a lot of.
So why would they not buy? And that's what they know that somebody who owns a home wouldn't necessarily know.
There's a duplex that's been sitting on the market forever that I sort of watch here and there. I just think it's a great deal. It finally sold this week. $674 East End of Barrie. Crazy. The apartment is nicer than the home, debatably. The apartment's going to get $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to live in that place for
free.
$1,500, $1,800 a month sort of thing with a minimum down payment. I mean, you put 20% down, it's forget about it. It's super affordable.
I know.
But those deals exist right now.
They do exist. And that's the part of the market we're not going to get back.
So the tariff thing ends. Those deals will not exist.
No, they won't.
Overnight.
They will not.
And we're not saying in this video that that 674 was going to go to 874,000. What we're saying is people are going to buy those homes real fast.
And also what people seem to forget when it comes back to condos again.
Yeah.
And yes, we have an oversupply of condos right now. But guess what? They stopped building condos a while back.
Yeah.
What happens in 2 years when they haven't built a damn thing? Because they don't go up overnight.
Yeah.
When they haven't built a darn thing in the last 2 years, those condos are going to go up in price. So everything is timing. Everything.
And there's great deals on condos. I mean, if you want to invest in something,
there's some people that need to sell.
Totally.
I would be buying a condo all day long. I've been looking at a condo in Toronto all this time.
I sent you a listing, I don't know, 2 weeks ago maybe. And I said, are these people like looking for a higher price, like holding offers? It was, a less desirable building, less desirable area sort of thing, $229,000. And I said, are these people like just expecting 300? And you wrote back, nope.
No.
You could buy this. I think it ended up selling for a little over asking. Not 100,000 over asking.
No,
10 or 20,000.
We don't see those days anymore.
250 for a 1-bedroom condo in Barrie? Like, come on. Buy it.
That's why I say to people, like, this market may seem like it's a lot of people get frustrated with this market because they'll list their home and they're getting, the occasional showings and nothing's happening and they pull it off. Wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Wrong thing to do. Because we have had listings that we've had for 5 months. We get an offer, all of a sudden we have 2 offers.
It's so crazy.
Everything is timing.
Yes.
And sometimes people sit and watch homes.
Yes.
They watch.
Yeah.
They're going to pull the trigger and then somebody else pulls the trigger. Well, guess what? They're not going to lose it now. So do not pull your homes off the market. This is not the easiest market to sell in. You need the right strategies, but you also need patience. And that's something I don't have.
I don't have that either.
I don't have it. So I don't blame people.
I was saying to you, like, you look at the houses in your area as a consumer, like not even as, a realtor. Everybody that's watching this video knows generally the house is for sale around them on the street. They drive by it. What about that one? And then, you see it for sale for 7-8 months. Bang, there's a sold sign on it. And you go, huh? That one sold? It's really wild. So I mean, you're the pro, but like, I agree. Like you have to leave it up, right?
Well, because because homes are very personal now.
Yeah.
I put my home on the market and nobody comes to see it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with my house? I'm pulling it off. No, you leave your house on the market. This is not an easy market, but you have to be patient.
Yeah.
You have to be patient because at the right time, depending on what buyer is out there, someone will pull the trigger and it has nothing to do with your house.
It's true. I got a message from one of your agents last night. Hey, can we do a 3-day condition on finance where 5's usually the case? Of course we can do 3 days, but like, the underlying messages,
they're in multiple
offers. So that still exists too.
It does exist. You're just not seeing the huge bump ups like we were. Like, back in January and February of 2022, I'd walk in your home and I'd say, what do you want for it? Okay, let's list it 200 less. We'll get it. Like
crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But if things change with the tariffs,
and they could change overnight.
In January, when we were talking tariffs, I think your message was, listen, this isn't going to change quickly. Now this could change very quickly. And if it does change, hold on.
Yeah.
Because we have inventory, we have home prices.
Yeah.
We have interest rates, and we're not talking about Toronto. Like there's some problems in Toronto as well.
And so the person I'm hoping I'm reaching right now is the one that's waiting because they want more for their home.
Yeah.
If you want more for your home and you're not coming back on this market,
wait.
But throw the dice. Yeah. Like I can't be assured of what's going to happen, but I've got a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
But if you're that person that wants more for their home, however they have to buy in this market, you're killing yourself for nothing. Like it doesn't make sense to wait. You should buy now because now you have choice.
You have choice. There's inventory. Like, I mean,
there's so many people living in their COVID houses that bought them on not a whim, but they felt pressured.
Yeah.
And so they're not exactly living in the house they want, but too bad. Like you had to buy it because there were 20 other offers on it.
One of the hardest things we do is say to somebody, you've been pre-approved. You can spend $1 million.
Yeah.
Go find a home.
Good luck. I know.
Sometimes we don't hear from them, Peggy, for 3 months.
I know.
I mean, the world is their oyster. They can go wherever they want in Simcoe County. They can look at luxury. They can look at multifamily. They can, like, there's so much that they can buy. It's almost like there's too much choice, right?
It's a candy shop.
It's a candy shop. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, last little bit of politics. Obviously, the election just ended.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that out of our way, obviously. For a lot of reasons, right?
Like
we're
need
settled.
Certainty.
Yeah,
we need certainty.
We're settled. We have certainty. New housing minister was announced.
Yeah.
His initial comment about the housing market, did it shock you?
No. What was he supposed to say?
Yeah. So the question was, do you plan on making, I'm paraphrasing, do you plan on making homes more affordable for young Canadians in general, but young Canadians who want to buy homes? And he said, no. I want stability in our housing market.
And guess why, Nick? Because our entire economy depends on it.
Well, I mean, people's largest wealth and asset.
But it's their ATM machine.
Yeah.
So you start bringing down the price of homes.
That's a scary situation.
You can't, because what happens? People will walk away from their homes.
No
they
question.
Won't be able to sell them.
No question.
So your home is worth less than what the bank you owe the bank.
Yeah.
Here's my keys.
In almost every circumstance, for a certain generation of Canadians, 30 to 50, we're refinancing to pay off debt, reno, invest, cottage, send kids to school, help out their parents, help out family, like all of these things. Live. We're refinancing their home to 80% of the value.
Yeah.
Now, like, the comments are going to fill up about this, but it is what it is. I mean, like, that is
That's
life,
just how
in
life
Canada,
is in Canada.
for sure. You bring home values down by 15%, and you're telling me I owe 95% of my home value now?
You can have it back.
And then I can't make ends meet, and my mortgage is $5,000 when I can rent a home for $2,000. The home, you're going to have all the homes back.
Guys, the reality is they cannot afford to bring home prices down. They can't. They wouldn't do it. Our economy is built on it.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for saying what he did. What he did say was that he's going to build more affordable homes for first-time buyers. Okay.
Yeah. Because
that's where the pain is.
Well, he said he's going to build more affordable homes, and we don't know. Like, we hope that's going to be for first-time home buyers. You know, there's a lot of talk about, like, you know, wartime style homes, bypassing waiting times for building permits, development charges, these sort of things.
But just to play devil's advocate, you start putting a lot of homes like that into the supply chain.
Yeah.
House prices soften.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yep.
Like, we're a supply and demand industry.
Yeah.
So you start putting a whole whack of supply into this market, and the equilibrium shifts, we're in trouble again. Well, so it's going to be gradual. Nothing's happening overnight. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah.
My point is nothing's going to happen overnight, because it's very, very, it's very delicate. It's a very delicate balance.